Good morning, Year 6. Welcome to your maths lesson today, Thursday the 21st of May. We're looking at angles in a triangle, the missing angles. So your first anchor question. Rosie says, it is impossible to me to calculate all of the missing angles. Is Rosie correct? Have a look. We need to apply all of our knowledge of angles to this question. So, starting with A, can I calculate A? Let me have a look. So I know the internal angles of a triangle are 180 degrees. I've got 55 and 90 already. So 55 add 90, so equal 145 degrees. So angle A equals 180 take away 145 degrees. So a total equals 35 degrees. So we can work out A. Let's have a look at B. So B equals, let's have a look. So we can see around a point, we know the total angles around a point is 360 degrees. We've worked out A already, which is 35. We're told B is 45. So 35 add 45 is 80 degrees. So 360 take away 80 equals 280. So we know B equals 280 degrees. So we've worked out two so far. Then C and D. So C, again, we can work that out because that's another triangle here. And we're given two of the angles. So C, we can work out 45 add 90. Well, 45 add 90 is 135. 180 take away 135 equals 45 degrees. So 45 degrees. And then D. Well, we know angles on a straight line. So we've got a straight line here equal 180. So D, and we know C is 45. So 180 take away 45 equals 135. Equals 135. So we know that Rosie is incorrect because we have worked out all the angles by proving it, and we can use our knowledge of different sizes and angles in a triangle and round a point and on a straight line to work out all the angles. Another question. Charles thinks that angle B measures 65 degrees. Chrissy thinks that angle B measures 120. Who is correct and why? So B, let's have a look. We've got here angles. Let's have a look. So B, we've got 115 this side, so we can work them out. So we need to start working out these points here. So 115, this is a straight line. So 180 take away 115 is 65 degrees. So that's 65. 55 add 65 to work out this one. So 60, 120. So this would equal 60. Oh, let me just get that, 60 degrees. So if that is 60, that then makes this 60, as it is an alternative angle. So 60 and 60 is 120. So just bear that in mind to begin with. Around a point, we have 360 degrees. So 360 take away 120 equals 240. Then we've got two angles. So 240 divided by 2 equals 120. So Chrissy is correct because it equals 120 degrees. It's going to have a look at the video now that will help you with today's lesson, and it starts with a flashback 4.
Hello there again. Flashback 4 to start us off. So have I got the questions? Name that shape. Okay, question 1. Work out the missing angle. Well, we know angles on a straight line, if they're adjacent, sum to 180. So A plus 57 must equal 180. So A therefore must be 123. Number 2. The parallelogram is enlarged by a scale factor of 4. How long are the sides of the new parallelogram? Well, if I increase both of the lengths by a factor of 4, it would be 20 centimetres and 60 centimetres. Number 3. Write down a unit we would use to measure area. Well, some might include centimetres squared, metres squared, kilometres squared. There's a few you could have. Number 4. Multiply 5.3 by 7. Well, for that one, you should have got 37.1. You could have worked that out by doing what's 54 by 7 and then dividing the answer by 10. And the shape is a trapezium. Okay, we're going to do something a little bit different to start off. You know, don't get upset, it's going to be absolutely fine. But what I'd like you to do is just have a go at question 1 before we go any further. It will all become clear in a second, so don't worry. Okay, hopefully you've had a chance to have a go at those. You'll see why I wanted to do this first in a second. Okay, let's have a look at our first image. Well, we can see that I've got 3 angles in there, and I know that angles in the triangle sum to 180 degrees. Right, the next one. I can see that it sort of forms like a cross where 2 straight lines meet, and those 2 angles are vertically opposite, so those 2 angles will be equal. The third image, I can see that they're on a straight line, so they would sum to 180 degrees. I can also see this fourth one. I can see there are 5 angles, and they're all around a point, so that means they would sum to 360. And this last one, I can see that it's an isosceles triangle, and 2 of them are labelled, and those 2 angles will be equal. Now then, if you found this activity quite difficult, I really recommend that you pause this video, have a look back at the previous ones that maybe you got wrong, just as a bit of a refresher. So then, the reason why you need to know those things before is because we're going to use these skills in answering some questions about triangles. So the first one is asking us, calculate angle X. So pause the video, have a go. How could we work out angle X? Okay, let's have a look. So what you may have noticed, you may have visualised this, is that these 2 angles are adjacent on a straight line. So 130 plus x equals 180. There's my straight line. And therefore x must be worth 50, because 50 plus 130 is 180. Let's put our shape back to the way it was. Okay, what about any other ones? Is it possible to calculate any of the other angles that are labelled? Pause the video, have a go. Okay, let's have a look then. Okay, is there any other information I could use to help me work out any of the missing angles? Well, I can see it's an isosceles triangle because 2 of the sides are equal, which means that 2 of the angles are going to be the same size. In this case, these 2 are going to be the same size, so this is 50. And that leaves me with working out why. Well, I know that the sum of the angles inside a triangle would be 180. So if I have 180 degrees minus those 250 degrees, it would leave me with 80. That means that y is equal to 80 degrees. I've worked out the missing angles. Oh, look at this one. Right then. Pause the video. Can you work out the missing angles inside those triangles? Okay, how did you get on? Quite tricky. But I think of anything like this, actually, breaking it down into steps can really help. Let's have a look here. I've given some information. I've given this external angle of the triangle as being 310 degrees. It might help me to visualise this little bit extra, or to complete the full turn. And I notice that I've got a circle here, and I know that full turn is 360 degrees. So let's visualise that full turn being 360 degrees. Now, I want to work out this little bit extra. I know most of the turn, which is 310 degrees, so the bit that's left is 50 degrees. So this internal angle here would be 50 degrees. Okay. Okay, we're off and running. So because I know it's an isosceles triangle, because 2 of the sides are equal in length, that means that 2 of the angles are equal. Which 2 is it? Hopefully you recognise that this angle here would also be 50 degrees. I've got some more information. Fantastic. Now what? Okay. Now, I've got 2 of the angles inside this bottom triangle. And now I want to work out the missing one. Well, I know that 50 and 50 is 100. If I take that away from 180, because 180 is the sum of all the angles inside a triangle, that leaves me with 80 degrees. So this angle must be 80 degrees. Is there anything else that I know now? Well, if I look at this central part here, I can see I've got 2 straight lines meeting. And at that point, I can see I've got 2 vertically opposite angles. So if this one is 80, then this one must also be 80 degrees. I'm doing well. Okay, what about this top triangle? Is there anything else that I know? Well, we've done quite a lot of work on right angles, and I know this one must mean it is 90 degrees. Okay. What about the remaining angle? I know 2 of the angles inside of the triangle. One is 90, one is 80. And I know that all the angles inside a triangle must sum to be 180. So if I took away those 2 from 180, I'm left with just 10 degrees. So this therefore must be 10 degrees. And I've worked it out. Right then, pause the video, have a go at the worksheet.
Okay, so have a go at the worksheet here. So it's also been emailed and is on the blog for you. But also remember to have a go at learning by questions. Good luck.